Welcome everyone, it's Gray Shirt Guy. I'm Rock the Gray Shirt. As always, we are doing a little weekly studio update. Talking about a couple things I've painted, a couple things I've worked on, a couple things I've bought, and an idea I had, and a couple fun lists that I think you might find interesting, or you might not. But let me know in the comments down below as we go through this. So let's talk about what I bought. So I got a hold of the Soulblight Gravelord's Battle Tome, and I pre-ordered this because I have a bunch of death models, and I think it would be cool to actually build that army out, which kind of will lead to another discussion later on. But I've been reading through this book. We watched a couple reviews, and the art alone in this book is beautiful. Like, you get a nice army spread, and I think that looks nice. Although I'm a little disappointed that I have the old Blood Knights and not the new Blood Knights. I also picked up the White Dwarf that supposedly contains the Fallen rules, but if you knew what the Fallen rules were before, you would realize that the rules in here are basically the same. There's a minor change dealing with specialist attachments, things like that, but as far as I know, it is the exact same as it was before. So, not a big win. Now, it's interesting enough because the White Dwarf, I think it was like $6 to $9, maybe $9 for the White Dwarf to pre-order it. And had there been some cool rules. It did come with some cards, which I thought were pretty nifty. What did it come with? It came with these, what do they call them? I forget what these are, strategy cards. So it came with 3 Fallen Angel stratagem cards. And then it came with 2 Emperor Spear cards and 3 Exorcist cards. So actually, I think maybe the cards alone might definitely be at least worth it. Not to mention, even though I only got it for the Index Hereticus the Fallen, which wasn't really that much, and it also referenced you to have to go back to the Chaos Space Marine rulebook, which is like, okay. It did have a bunch of art and other battle reports that I thought were pretty cool and some painting guides. So I think it was definitely worth a buy, but I didn't get what I was hoping to get out of it. But speaking of things I've been working on, let's move on over to that. So we got our Seraphim heroes working on a little cyberpunk scheme with the purples and the blues. The gun casings for all the different squads are going to be orange. I'm going to try working on the rest of the squad after this. And I think she turned out pretty well. 1 second. There we go. I was trying to figure out where my mouse is at. So, yeah, a little spin around action. If you look really closely, you'll see that she's not centered on her stem, and that also irritates me. I apologize if you've been triggered by that, but it triggers me all the time. But I think she turned out pretty well. I thought about doing maybe the cape, like blue, for her sleeves, but it was a lot of unnecessary work with getting the brush in there, and I think what I ended up doing worked out pretty nicely. And trying to keep her mostly purple, but accents with some blues and some other colors. So I think it turned out really well. Let me know. We did a little conversion. We converted some Blight Kings from Age of Sigmar into Blight Lord Terminators for 40k for my Death Guard army. So what we did is basically just had a bunch of bits lying around. And so the guy in the middle, this dude right here, so we got ourselves our Blight Lord champion with a Stormbolter and a little Plague Sword there. I think he's looking pretty sweet. He definitely looks champion-ish. We got ourselves just a normal Stormbolter with a Bubonic Axe. And not really a huge fan of his pose, but it works out. Then we got Reaper Autocannon, which is basically just an autocannon slapped onto an assault cannon with an autocannon like ammo pack. And then, of course, the axe. Got another axe here. You can't really see the angle, but we threw on a little Stormbolter. And this character right here is my flail for the Blightlord Terminators. And what I did is there used to be 3 little bells on here. I clipped the bells off and I threw 3 chainswords on there. It has a really dynamic swooping pose that I like. I did add later on, which is not in this picture, I did some little tentacle, green stuff tentacles onto, I think mostly all of them, maybe not all of them, but I did add some green stuff to try to help clear in some of the gaps and where like the Terminator arms kind of didn't really fit too well. But they were able to glue or super glue in. So that is where that is at. And then this is what I just finished. So my Fallen army has the Fallen Vanguard side of it with 3 squads of Fallen, Chaos Sorcerer, and Cypher. But then it also has a Chaos Space Marine component of it, a battalion, and one of the HQs is this Master of Executions. I didn't like the heads. It had 2 different heads. So I took a helmet, a leftover helmet from one of the Terminator kits, because he is a kind of a beefy dude. He's a thicker boy. And he is, as far as I understand, he's on a Terminator base. So I gave him a Terminator helmet. And I think it gives him a nice imposing look. And tried to keep as much of that original black from the Horus Heresy as I could. I wanted to go all black and silver, but I ended up kind of having to break up the silver and the black. For the bones on the shoulder and all the bones on him, I wanted those bones to not be bone color. I wanted them to be silver, as if they're kind of like growing out of his uniform, because like you can see up here, this bone right here is growing up. But I thought it'd be really cool if it was metal instead of bone, because I didn't want bone on bone. I thought that would have looked weird, and so I went with bone there, or metal for the spike, and then bone for the skulls, for the skull throne. And then, although they're fallen, so they're kind of undivided. And then for the edge of the axe, I went with a, I actually had to toss a couple GW silvers because they just were not working. And I ended up going with a Vallejo silver to get that nice little sharp effect. I should probably at some point throw on some Blood for the Blood God or some Blood Splatter effects, but as far as I'm concerned right now, he's good. Now, his cape is sometimes considered for Master Execution to be flesh, but I went with these three colors of the bone, green, and red, because those are three colors that are used throughout the lineage that Dark Angels use for their different capes. And so my idea was that he's slain a bunch of Dark Angel characters that all have capes over the years, and he ends up making his little skirt thing out of their heraldry, and he kind of like staples it all together, which I think is kind of cool. We'll take a little quick spinnerooski around, and kind of tried to do him a little hastily because he's been a bit of a distraction, but I think he turned out really well. All right, we're now going to move on to some fun. So I built some lists. I do this all the time, and sometimes this is actually negative because I'll build a list that I think is kind of fun or funny, and then I'll go buy the models. And then I end up with a giant stack of models that I haven't assembled or painted, which is, I think a problem with a lot of war gamers is like you buy stuff that you think is kind of cool, or you build a list you think is kind of cool, and then you end up buying more than you probably should. But the way that this army works is you got your 3 Land Raider Redeemers, which have the Flamestorm cannons that are 12-inch range, pretty beefy. They've got the Twin Assault Cannon, Stormbolter, Multi-Melta, 100, basically all the upgrades they could take, and this is obviously Space Wolves. And they have 3 squads. I got 3 squads of Blood Claws. They have the Chainsword Bolt Pistol. I think the Pack Leader just has the same loadout. I don't think I gave the Pack Leader anything different because he's not a Wolf Lord, but he's just run a Pack Leader. But one of the Blood Claws does have a Melta Gun, so it's a Melta Gun plus just a lot of Chainsword Bolt Pistol action. And then all of those guys are each in their own Land Raider, and I have 3 characters because there's just enough room for these 3 characters. So I've got Rockfist, I've got Crom, and I've got Ehrlich, mostly because they're not Primaris, and they can fit in the Redeemer because they're either Terminators or they're regular just Space Marines. And so they will go in one in each of them, and the idea is that you just roll them on the battlefield, and like +2, like the armor save and the strength and toughness on the Redeemer is pretty substantial, so you can get kind of close, and then just dump out your Space Wolves, hit them with the heavy vehicles, and then I got Murder Fang and a Wolf and Dreadnought, kind of just being silly and just causing a muck. And I think this list would be pretty funny. I price checked it, and it was under $700. It was like 600 something because I didn't have the rule book, and I think I forgot to add the Space Wolf cards, so it'd be a little bit higher. As far as the Cataclysm of Fire and Exaltation of Rage, those are just rules that you had to pick something, and so I don't exactly know if those are the best, and probably not, but those are just what I picked. I'm also not sure if Crom being the Warlord really matters. I don't think any of them have any specific Warlord traits. Maybe Ehrlich does, but I didn't check. But I think this would be kind of funny, and I call it my Wolf bus, where they're just all like, drinking and like running around, and then just go, oh, there's something to go fight, and so they go fight it. I just think it would be kind of funny. As far as this little list is, apologies for it being kind of small. It's just how the picture, I couldn't blow the picture up without doing that, but I think maybe can I just do a little, we might be able to do a little zoom in. Hold on. There we go. That'll work. I can't expand it. I just don't like this right here. But whatever. So we have, this is a list made of mostly of kits I have, minus 2 boxes that I would need to buy to finish this list out. And so, because I have the older start collecting Legions of, I think it's Legion of Gash or Skeleton, I think it's Skeleton Walkers or something. So I have a Manfred, I have a right king because I had picked him up, or white king, I think is what you call it. Yeah, white king. So I have Manfred, I have a white king. I would need to buy the new Start Collecting box to get the white king on Skeleton Steed. And then I would need to buy 1 box of Dreadwalker zombies because I have the older box, which is funny because the older box of Dreadwalker zombies looks exactly the same packaging material as the new box, just with the old box art on it. And the new box is smaller, which I believe the new box is smaller. But then I have 2 of the Dead Rattle Skeletons. I would either make those into one 20-man unit or leave them separated. The thing I find most funny is because now it doesn't seem to really matter. Well, points-wise, it doesn't matter if you take the blades or the spears. Let me check. I don't think it matters weapon-wise what they do, but maybe it does. Maybe taking, because back in the day the spears used to have. Okay. So no, all right. So the blade or the spears, which you used to have the blade and the shield, or the spears. So it talks about, like, see, ancient blade or spears, range 1 inch, attacks 1 to hit, 3+ to wound 4+, and then 1 damage. Skeleton Legion, when you pick a fight, this unit will die. Standard Bear for 1 in every 10. In this unit can be a Standard Bear. You can reroll for it. So it's Standard Bear, but I don't think it anywhere in here does it talk about each armed with a ancient blade or a spear. So it doesn't talk about the shields anymore, but you would model them with the shields if you had them. It's just funny how, like, the shields are kind of baked. I guess they're kind of baked into the profile. But and then one model of this unit, maybe your champion, and the champion can replace their ancient spear or ancient blade with a mace or halberd. And so we'll see what I have in the army. Because since these are the older models, I don't know if they have a halberd or a mace, so I'm not sure. I think it didn't cost any points to do that, so that's why I didn't really pick it, because I wasn't really sure what I had. But I already have 1 unit of Black Knights, and then if you get the Start Collecting box, there's another unit, so that'd be 10 Black Knights total. And I know Black Knights aren't super good, apparently, but I mean, we take a quick gander at the Black Knights. I don't know if the Black Knights are worth it. I was told that they're not. Okay, Black Knights. So we have the Borrowed Lands, we got Hoofs and Teeth, unit of Black Knights, as number models, each arm with Borrowed Lands, Standard Bearer, once every 5, Musician Hornblower, once every 5, while the unit Hornblower charge rolls for this unit of less than 6 trades being 6, and then they have, after this unit makes a charge move, you can pick 1 enemy unit. Oh, okay. I'm not exactly sure how powerful they are. They hit on a 4+ and they wound on a 3+, at least 3 or 4+, depending on what is attacking. You have decent range on the thing. I think was it true that the Blood Knights? Yeah, it's interesting how the Blood Knights have so the Black Knights have a 1 inch extra range, but the Blood Knights don't, which I think is kind of funny. I have a squad of the older Finecast Blood Knights, so I will be sadly painting those because I think once I flack them up and then prime them, they'll be fine. And then I end up if I get the Start Collecting box, I'll end up with 3 squads of Grave Guard, and then I have the Sepulchre Guard. So aside from the models I already have, all I have to do is buy 1 box of zombies and 1 Start Collecting box, and then I'll have this full 2,000 point army. Which, is it the best Soul Blight Gravelord's army at all? No. It is Legion of Night, which I think kind of fits with the zombie, or more with the skeletons. But I think it'll be kind of fun. I think it'll definitely be fun to play. Because if we look at how many bodies we have in the field, we got 40 zombies, 20 of the regular skeletons, and then 30 of the Grave Guard, and they're all just going to have the great weapons or whatever. The Great White Blade. And then we have the Sepulchre Guard. So we have, let's see, I think the guards get 7, so we have 30, 50, 90? Am I thinking of that count right? So we have 90 infantry plus the 7, so 97 plus the Right King. So we have 98 infantry models. Woo, jeez. Which may not be enough for this kind of an army, but I think it'd be kind of fun. Let me know if you also agree it'd be kind of fun. But I have an idea. And now I don't know if this is a good idea or not, so you let me know if it's a bad idea. I'll probably have already started it. Maybe not. We'll think about this. So I did a poll not too long, well, probably a couple months ago actually. I did a poll to see what army I was, or what project I was going to work on after my Catachans, and the project that had the most votes was my Sisters of Battle. Now, it's not that I don't like my Sisters of Battle. It's more a case of I walk past my hobby room that has my backlog of my unassembled models, and it just like, I really gotta finish those Sisters of Battle so I can assemble one of these armies. But I have a whole bunch of assembled, unpainted armies in my shelves, and it's like, so what do I do? Do I paint the ones I have already assembled, and then once all those are painted, then I can assemble more? Or do I just keep doing what I'm doing, where I'm working one project at a time, and then if they need assembly, I'll assemble them. If I don't need assembly, then I don't. Or do I go with the this other option, which was assemble everything that I have, just every army I have, because I have army lists for everything. Assemble everything I have, minus maybe Mortarion and Be'lakor, mostly because Be'lakor doesn't really have an army yet. Actually, I probably could. No, Bellacor's Chaos, so I can't fit him in this army. Can I have a Be'lakor in my Beast of Chaos army? Anyways, I'm getting distracted. But oh man, that Be'lakor book. I should have bought that Be'lakor. No. We need to save our money. We don't need to buy random books we don't need right now. But what if I just assemble everything, have it all on my shelves, and then go, all right, everything's assembled, everything's ready to be painted, and then at least at that point in time, I could paint projects that I want to paint, and then if I feel like, oh man, you know what, I don't want to paint like these sisters right now, or this one model right now, I'm going to go grab a different model and paint that because I wanted something else different. I think it'd be kind of also... I would be able to, one, see how many models I actually have, and two, I would be able to, I can still kind of play or do stop motion with the unpainted models, or at least just kind of like see what they would look like. So these are just ideas I have. Yeah, should I assemble all of my backlog, which I think would be kind of fun, or should I just continue with painting the sisters and then pick something else afterwards? Yeah. Well, anyways, other than that, let me know, and you guys have a great weekend, and happy Memorial Day, which is tomorrow, and goodbye.